perspective and all that, getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows. Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back here to Slow Motion Broadcasting, and welcome back to the Sim Racers Group F3 Championship. It is round number 5 of this season, coming to you tonight from Spa. My name is Maunz. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Joshua Wilkie. Mike Braun is our producer for tonight's broadcast. Well, Josh, to keep this season up and rolling, we head off to another Grand Prix track, maybe one of the most iconic in all of Grand Prix racing, Spa. It may no longer be the host of a Grand Prix after this calendar year, but when I think of Spa, I think of Formula One, and when I think of Formula One, I think of open wheel cars, and when I think of open wheel cars, I also think of the F3. So with that very convoluted segue out of the way, I'm looking forward to this race. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely, Ron. Spa, you know, one of my favorites, like I was saying on the run-up here, it ends up being a pretty difficult race prospect at times. There's a lot of drafting that can happen around here. There are some specialists that are probably going to have some lap times, and it's a pretty big track as well. So there's a lot of time out there, a lot of real estate, I suppose, to make a mistake or lose some time, or perhaps gain some time here as we follow now. I believe, who is this that we are on? Josh Corwin here, just going up through Eau Rouge and Radion down the Kemmel Straight here. There's going to be a lot of passing attempts coming down towards Lacombe. for sure. And one of the first kind of technical sections there as well. There's all kinds of challenges around this track: downhill, winding corners, uphill, twisty corners, long corners that you need sustained grip around. There's a lot of stuff you kind of have to snipe around here. Some curbs that we've been talking about all season here now. Those 3D curbs in our first rounds have taken out more than a few drivers. Don't think it's going to be that big of a problem this time around. The 3D curbs around here, if they even are 3D, I'm not sure they are. They just don't have the same ridging, the same type of abrasiveness as some of the other curbs do, and they are usable in many spots here, as we are now on board with Tyrone De Silva through one of my least favorite corners there. Not quite getting her down to that sausage. You want to make sure you really get it down to the apex on that particular corner there, so you can open this up and then into our left-hand carousel here. Another really important corner, maximizing as much as possible. Probably going to be flat at some point through there. And then off into our most technical section of the course here, one of my favorite spots. Really easy to get a lot of off tracks through here. Easy to hit a little bit of kitty litter. You know, it's just a difficult track in so many ways. And I think there's going to be a lot of passing around here. Again, going to be a bit of a decision maker. I'm here for it. It's a power track, so you really do have to know it well. And that practice is going to pay off this week.
Yeah, practice is definitely making perfect, and for some of these drivers, they were able to get a different kind of experience this past weekend with the running of the iRacing Spot 24. Did not get the, I say didn't get the opportunity to cover it on the iRacing channel, did not select to cover it on the iRacing channel, but it was a pretty fantastic event as always, and it's always good to go through an iRacing special event and not hear about any sort of major controversy that's going to make the world explode. So that is a good thing. Following Jason Green, who is one of the drivers running for Slow Motion Racing during that event, heard some things may not have gone the best in the world for that effort and incident during the race. But JG2 currently running an 8th at the moment here in this qualifying session as we get into the final minute and a half. Max Lotto is your current provisional pole sitter, though, with Caleb Michaelwood set to join him on the front row. Now, so far this season here, Josh, we've only had 2 pole sitters, those being Michaelwood's at 3, grabbing the poles at Barcelona, the Red Bull Ring, and Mugello. The only other driver to grab a pole is Stephen Case, who was able to get the job done there at Silverstone. With only a minute left to go here in qualifying, it's looking good for Lotto, although he is not out there on the racetrack. JG2 not going to be able to improve on this lap time. I'm not sure if anybody, maybe the only exception that I will see to the rule of being able to get in another lap time here will be Josh Leslie. Is heading his way off through Fagnes right now. Now, the interesting point about this championship that I raised last night during the F4 broadcast is here in the F3s, once that timer runs out, that is it. No extra time. No, okay, you cross the line with a second left on the clock, you can come around to complete your lap. Interesting rules that are set up here in this series. When that 20 minutes is up, it is up. No time to spare, and I'm not sure if Leslie is going to have the time. He heads his way off through Blanchimont, heading his way off into the final chicane right now. 3, 2, 1. No seconds left on the clock, and just like that, he's going to get shot up into outer space, and we'll be able to take a look at your starting grid for this first sprint race here in a couple of moments time, but it's got to be Max Lotto grabbing the pole position here this season. 3 different pole sitters in the past 3 rounds of this championship, despite the fact that Stephen Case has been the dominant man ever since the inaugural season of this championship about a year ago. It's been very competitive so far here this season. Starting alongside him on your front row will be Caleb Michaelwood. Terry Crouch will start in third. Next to him will be Josh Leslie. Skylar Viceroy will start in P5. Next to him will be Stephen Case. Danush Paborji will be in 7th. Jason Green will be alongside him there in P8. Looking through the rest of the pack, it's Chris Eggert starting this race in 9th with Adrian Lopez completing our top 10. Josh?
And then we'll have Tyrone De Silva in 11th place. In 12th place, we have Nathan Perkins. In 13th place, we have Chris Wang. Keep wanting to call him Christopher for some reason. Not sure why I do that. Sorry, Chris. In 14th, we have Alex Velasco. 15th, Kenan Miller. Joshua Corwin will be in 16th. Jason Cotcher in 17th. In 18th, we have Jose Navas Molina. Michelle Lynn will be 19th. Jacob Guyton will be in 20th. Varun Bali will be in 21st. 22nd will be Thomas Brashear. Diego Posada will be in 23rd place. And in 24th place, we have Kulkaran Dillon rounding out the field.
Yeah, so 24 drivers set to grab the green flag here in a couple of moments' time, waiting for Ken and Miller to line up there, and then we'll have our full field ready to rock and roll here at Spa. It's a track that many of these drivers will likely know like the back of their own hand, and it is going to be a fun one, competitive as well. Perfect day in sim for track conditions as well. 70 degrees Fahrenheit, that's my version of perfect, and for race car tires, 84 degrees Fahrenheit at the start is perfect as well. But let's bring it. Round number 5 of this season here at Spa. 5 lights on, 5 lights out, and we are racing here in the Ardennes. Great start there from your pole man, Maxlin Lotto. Punch out hole shot there. However, he's got a big challenge heading his way off through that opening turn. Good challenge there from Kayla Michaelwitz. Not able to get the move done, but it is still competitive as we head our way down the old Grand Prix straightaway. He's looking for it down through Rouge and Radion, but thinks better of it. Side by side behind Derek Crouch and Josh Leslie. They're chasing each other's tails. Nearly ends in tears. Skylar Vickroy got to try and be the beneficiary of that, but he's got to pick up a slowdown. That'll be trouble for him as side by side, Michaelwitz looking for it around the outside of Maxlin Lotto, heading down the Kemmel straightaway off into Lake Home, sweeping around the outside the 76 and punching out into the race lead.
Excellent pass there. Opportunistic from Kalen Michaelwitz, going to take that lead on lap 1 in to that corner there, just behind as well. We saw almost 4 wide there for a moment. I believe that was between Josh Leslie, Stephen Case, Adrian Lopez, and Jason Green. Somebody now tumbling a little bit down the order here. Looks like maybe Velasco and Miller actually just jockeying for position. Still, if you look back in our cameras there, lots of side-by-side racing going on. Velasco there. Now we have, I believe, Joshua Corwin and the number 14 of Chris Wang here side by side. He's going to push him a little bit wide. Not sure if he's going to pick up a slowdown for that, and he is going to actually not pick up a slowdown for that one. So Corwin going to get away with it and hold that position for now. And, oh, wow. There goes another move from Jose Navas Molina on Chris Wang. Going to make it on the outside there. All kinds of racing going on this first lap of Spa. Always interesting to see how it's going to get sorted out through Eau Rouge and then down the Kemmel straight. And they've done a really good job of it here. We haven't lost anybody quite yet. Michelle Lin now as well, turning the screws on Jose Navas Molina.
And so Michelle looking to get a good start here in this race. I got to say, hard chargers already. Ken Miller up 3 spots. Jose Navas up 3. Drivers carving their way through the field already. Maxlin Lotto, though, down 1. Kayla Michaelwitz going to end the first lap up in your top spot. Able to get that move done brilliantly at the end of the Kemmel straightaway. One of the premier overtaking opportunities here around this track. You got to see drivers use that like somebody would use the Coke bun at a vending machine, or Pepsi, depending on your affiliations, or maybe RC. Shout out to anyone who's a fan of Royal Cola. But let's take a look now. Stephen Case, our dominant man in past championships. It's been a little bit harder to come by in terms of victories so far here this season. I mentioned only 1 pole position so far this championship, that coming at Silverstone for round number 3. That was also the site of his 2nd sprint race win so far here. One thing about it, no future race wins. We've had we've had consistent changes with our future race winners. 4 out of 4 so far here this season. So waiting to see if we get a 5th different future race winner here in a row. Maybe it could be Stephen Case. As it stands right now, he would be starting the future race later on here tonight from the front row.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally possible out there for sure. And it has been a lot more difficult for Stephen Case this season. Maybe not just because of the speed people have found, although we've definitely got some drivers who found some speed out there, but also they've just learned how to race against Stephen Case. They've learned that we got to keep them behind here. We have to put our shoulders up as much as possible. And also up in the front, we need to work together a little bit. Once we are up front, we need to work together. Stop fighting each other quite so hard, or he's going to catch up and be able to pass us before the end. And honestly, around Spa, not a whole lot of time to get it done. 15 minutes to make some passes around here is not a lot of time. It's a very big track. The laps are fairly long, and it's not going to be easy to catch up all those positions in that short period of time and make those passes, right? Just because you catch them doesn't mean you're going to be able to get by. But Keelan Michaelwitz showing us how it's done here around that first lap. Now just on board with Terry Crouch here. Hunting behind Maxlin Lotto, looking for that pass into our final chicane here. And it looks like he's going to have a look out wide. This is a good place to put some pressure on a driver. You're never really going to make it happen there from the outside, but what you do is make the driver in front take a shallower line, then you may be able to attack down the front straight here and get maybe an inside move into this hairpin. But again, maybe not always the best move, and he is going to think better of it there, just about getting into the back of Linlotto there, being a little bit indecisive about what exactly he was going to do into that hairpin. But it does look like he's going to have a nice rip now up this back straightaway. Just to finish that thought, you don't always want to go the inside of somebody there, because it is going to slow you both down. And just behind them, they have Skylar Viceroy, Stephen Case, and Josh Leslie, and they will be on them in short order here if there's a mistake made.
And side by side as they head their way down the Kemmel straightaway, and Linlotto looking for this spot. Here we go. Once again, it's down into the heavy braking zone of Lake Calm. It was Max Linlotto getting overtaken around the outside earlier on. This time, Terry Crouch going to dive it down the inside and get that spot. Linlotto now slipping down to third. It hasn't been the smoothest start for that driver, the number 9 car, still looking to find his footing. We take a look back on some of the incidents that have gone down here in this race, as that's Diego Posada setting a driver up onto the side. That was the 145 involved in that. That was Varun Bali getting sent up into low Earth orbit as he headed his way through the first turn. We take a look at Kukaran Dillon with a moment heading down into Lake Calm. Just had to drop the anchors to avoid making contact with the car up in front. Unfortunately, did not end in his favor. As we take a look at what may have gone down with Jason Cotcher, big contact heading down into the bus stop chicane, going to remove his front nose cone. There may have been a bit more extra chaos going on for him, because he's picked up a meatball flag, has brought back to pit lane, and has called it a day. The driver he runs into is a Christmas scheme. That's Jacob Guyton there in the 64. Unfortunate for the both of those drivers. It's a classic Spa bus stop stack up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fairly easy to do that down there, and you know, especially on the first couple laps, you're really coming into that section fast, and you're trying to kind of play chicken a little bit with people. We're going to get another replay here of Keenan Miller just kind of losing it a bit there, coming together with, I believe that may have been Velasco. Looks like he's going to get away with it damage-wise, though. I did see some parts on the ground there, quite a few F3 parts here. Culker and Dillon now also going to go long into that corner. Yep, there's the front of Alex Velasco's machine there, and he's probably going to park that one and go home. Really easy to do. Once you kind of burn those tires off, you know, you really have to be careful in the next 4 or 5 corners until you can get them back here on board with Max Linlotto now behind Terry Crouch down the Kimmel Straight. He's going to have an easy draft of it here side by side. Maybe wanted to wait a little bit more. He might be able to get a side draft from that down. He's just going to be on the outside here. He's going to make that pass fairly easily. So you can really see that draft working here at Spa back and forth. It's going to be difficult if you're around the same pace as somebody to get rid of them. So it does kind of become a game of sort of piff-paff, who's going to be there at the end, and really you just got to make sure you time it right. Seeing now on our list here, somebody tumbling down. Looked like Adrian Lopez losing multiple positions. Varun Bali will be our most positions gained with 7 now, as Danush Paborji continues to tumble down 10 positions. Oh, meatball, and yep, not looking good there. So something has definitely happened to Danush Paborji on track there so far. Josh Leslie losing a couple positions from the beginning here. Here's our replay of Danush Paborji putting it backwards into the wall there. Oh, we're going 3 wide. Never going to work out very well into a section like this. He's going to get into Adrian Lopez, unfortunately, on the inside there. So, yeah, never really going to work 3 wide through there, is it, Ron?
Yeah, no, it never will. And you can see that damage on Adrian Lopez's car. It was part of the reason why those two first lost out on a couple of spots, and then we just continued to see Paborji drop down. Lopez with that damage, that is going to be a horrible run throughout the second half of this race. Front wing damage is bad enough of a prospect here in these F3 cars, doubly so around a track that's as quick as this one. As look at a move attempted from Josh Leslie, looking to pull off the Max Verstappen move and sweep around the outside, be out there with the Trailer Park Girls as he headed his way through Blanchemont. Not able to make it work. Skylar Viceroy fighting hard right now. That number 28 car close to contact as they headed their way onto the start-finish straightaway. These drivers playing with fire on the road right now. Leslie able to make it work for now. He dives it down the inside, adding off into Tyrannosaurus. Stephen Case, though, farther up the road, not able to enjoy this battle because these two are the only ones in it. Skylar Vickroy tried to go for the cutback, but he slipped into the coattails, tried to get a drift, heading up the hill through a Rouge at the top of the hill on Radion right now. Vickroy knows how to get a good run through there. He tried to make it work on lap 1, but unfortunately picked up a slowdown. These drivers are really slicing and dicing right now as Vickroy gonna be on the outside, heading our way into Lestoris. Where have I seen this before? And that is not going to work through the first part of it. Now through Malmedy, getting beached on that curb a little bit is Vickroy, and not going to be able to get that move done. Leslie remains in 5th as they're chasing each other's tails once again, heading off into Ravage. I am curious here, Mike, if we could potentially ride on board with Max Lotto. There's one particularly interesting shot as Skylar Vickroy nearly runs into the back of Leslie. May have just run into trouble. There's a shot of Vickroy's car, and I think we can see it right here, right now. Is it just me, Josh, or is there a little bit damage? It looks like there's some chassis damage at the top end of that race car. Yeah, there you can see it right there. That car already looks scuffed up. That is chassis damage on that car. You can't get that by normal circumstances. You get that usually by flipping over. It looks like Terry Crouch has that as well. He's jumped up into 3rd as drama went down there with Skylar Vickroy a few moments ago.
Yeah, it's looking actually, Ron, that's a good eye you have there. It looks like everybody actually has a little bit, and that's going to be probably due to something on track that they've struck. Either that or we're having some sort of a graphical issue there, but it may be something on track. I mean, as long as everybody has it, then at least it's an even playing field at that point. But good eye on the chassis damage. It definitely got a bit of marks there, and the only way I can see that happening is, like you said, either a hard impact or a rollover or something. So maybe we're dealing with a bit of a graphical glitch there, but really impressed with Josh Leslie through that section there. We watched him using the outside until it becomes the inside, and then was able to hold onto it down the Kimmel Straight and then through that next section of the course there as well. So really impressing with Josh Leslie these days. He's able to put the moves on, making them really nice and clean, as well as aggressive. So always good stuff to see here. Now, just on board with Chris Eggert here now behind. Oh, we're going to go to quickly a replay here. We're going to have a look at Skylar Vickroy here behind Josh Leslie, and it looks like he's going to make a little bit of contact. So he's actually kind of maybe tripping over his feet a little bit there. Every once in a while, you can kind of get up close to someone and you touch the brake and the gas and the brake and the gas, and you kind of don't know what to do with your feet for a second. Whoop, before you know it, you're sideways. And I think that's what happened to Vickroy, trying his very best not to make contact there. It's the 222 of Eggert having a wild tank slapper there. You can just see how quickly these cars really can change direction when they are when there's downforce on them. Wow.
Yeah, the thing is with these F3 cars, as you see Eggert with a slowdown having to yield that spot to Jason Green, the thing is with most quick open wheelers, especially when we get off into these F3 cars, is if you aren't thinking about every single turn, about a few turns before you actually get there, you're going to be in trouble. You have to think ahead in an open wheeler, and that is a learned skill set over time. It's something that I've been able to, for lack of a better term, master. I prefer driving open wheel cars, and it was something that I experienced when I was driving in shifter karts. If you were thinking about having something else go your way heading through a turn, say you go into a braking zone and you're thinking around the apex, should probably led that braking a little bit later, you're already midway through the turn, you're going to be in trouble and you're going to spin around. If you just overcook it a little bit here in these F3 cars, you don't have the time to try and react. You just need to do it, because if you think about it a little bit, that small little bit of thinking time will not be enough and you'll just end up in trouble. What separates the good racers who can hold their own in a race car from really good race cars who can thrive is having that instinct to do what you can do when you have to do it. Jason Green still running in 6th with Chris Eggert farther behind him, trying to bounce back after that moment there a few moments ago. We are on the white flag, so there's one more lap of racing action here. And although Kayla Michaelwitz is your race leader still, the gap up the front has closed down a significant portion. Half a second as they head their way onto the Kimmel straightaway for the last time, and Lynn Lotto is closing. He got a good exit. Lynn Lotto may try and get the move done if he can go for the dive and the send, heading off